Hi there everybody, and welcome to another C# tutorial. In this video we're going to handle constructors in C#, what they are and what they are used for. We're going to see how to write constructors with and without parameters, and we'll also see why they actually save us time. A constructor is like a special method that is used to initialize objects. A constructor is called when an object of a class is created, and the reason we use it is to set initial values for fields. So here I have just opened up a console application in Visual Studio. I just have a user class here with 3 fields, with the name, username and age field. I also have a program class with this main method where we're actually going to create the objects. So to actually write the constructor, we firstly need to just write this access modifier. I'm setting it to public so that the constructor will be accessible outside of the user class. And then we need to write the name of the class. The constructor has to have the name of the class, and it doesn't return anything like a void or an integer or string. The constructor does not have a return type. After the name of the constructor here, we just write parentheses, and then inside curly braces we can give an initial value to a field. Let me just give here to the name field a value of Jake, and down below in this program class, in the main method, I'm just going to create a user object. I'm naming it user, new user. So here the constructor will be called and the name field will be given the value of Jake. Let me just print out to the console here with this console.writeLine method the value of the user object.name. We should be able to see Jake printed out to the console. Here we can see Jake. So even when we do not explicitly create the constructor, as soon as an object is created, a constructor is created by default. But if we do not create a constructor, we will not be able to set an initial value to the fields of the object. The constructors can actually take one or multiple parameters. Let me just, for example, here take a string parameter for the name, also a string parameter for the username, and a string and an integer parameter for the age. And down below, I'm just gonna give to the field, to the name field of the class, I'm gonna give the value of this name parameter. And also I'm gonna do the same thing for the username field and for the age field. And as soon as we create the object down below, we actually need to specify here, we see that we have an error here, we need to specify the parameters that the constructor has. So we need to specify a value here for the name. Let me just write it again, Jake here. We need to specify a value for the username, like Jake Baker, and also a value for the age. Let me just set it to 24. And this way, when the object is created, the constructor here is called, and it takes these 3 values and it sets these values to this name, username and the age field. We could actually just print out to the console the user.name, or we could also then just run the program here. We could also just do the same for the username and the age. Let me just run the program one more time, and we see here Jake Baker, and the age, which is 24. So let's say, for example, we didn't use a constructor. Let me just comment the constructor out here and also these lines of code here. The way to set the initial values of the fields of the object would be a bit different. So let me just create the same object here And if I would want to give a value to each of its fields, I would need to do this one by one. So user by setting to user.name a value like John, and then the same thing for user.username like John Baker, and then also I would need to set separately the value of the age, setting it to 24 again. And actually this way, as you can see here, it uses more lines of code, but the most important thing is that it's not actually the recommended way. It's more compact and more readable if we actually give the initial values of the fields of the object in the constructor, and then we declare it here down below. And this is actually the way you will see most while programming, the way you will actually use the most. So these were the main things you need to know about constructors in C#. Thank you so much for watching, and just make sure to subscribe so that you won't miss the following videos of this series.